everyone, welcome to the Good Vibes show. I'm Anandita Talwar and I've taken over as the host for today. I'm with the creator of the show itself, Mr. Vivek Atray, bringing to us his latest book, The Middle of Everything. So, sir, starting off, I think we should start off with the title itself. What made you choose this title, The Middle of Everything?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for hosting this because I normally host the show and we have guests, but today you're hosting me. So this is the middle of everything, and it is something that is about life itself, anecdotes, funny incidents. So we were thinking of titles, and there was a title in this book, one of the pieces called The View from the Stage. And finally we came to the middle of everything, which basically denotes a lot of things happening in the middle of life, and how life is so busy, but then we find time to be cheerful. So the subtitle is Dollops of Humor and Inspiration from Life.
So based on the subtitle, I would like to ask you, what exactly is your style of writing? You've written, I think this is your 5th book.
Yeah.
So how would you describe your style of writing as an author?
Yeah, so I'll talk about my books and that will come out, the style will come out. So I think the first one and the second one were novels, and they were rom-com types of novels, a little funny, a little incidental, and the first one was actually episodical. So there were 6 episodes in that book, and I was a new writer, so I could not write a full-length 200-page novel. So I used to write these short pieces, which would be about 8,000 words, which is about 30 pages. And then they would go to about 200 and something pages in all. And these pieces would be very easy to write. So they were short stories weaved into one story. Then Dubey Ji Bounces Back is the second. It became easier for me because I had that practice of before. So this was more of a novel. And if the first one was a novella, you could say this is a novel. Dubey Ji Bounces Back was again humorous. There's a guy who bounces back from adversity and he becomes a champion of various things, including his work life, love life, his life as a whole. And the third one was a motivational book, because then I realized that becoming a motivational speaker, I can't have these funny novels going with me. I mean, they are okay. But when I talk about success, finding success, then I have to write about that. So the third book is called Finding Success Within. And the fourth one is a collection of my random forays, my column in the Hindustan Times.
Right.
It's called It's Still a Wonderful Life. It's a motivational book. The fifth one, this one, The Middle of Everything, is a collection of my humorous middles and some inspirational ones. So middles are basically editorial page pieces, about 500 words, and all leading newspapers would have them. And they give a chance to people who are reading the newspaper in the morning. Some people still have that habit. I don't do that. I read news on the go, on my phone, and articles also. But some people do that. So in the morning with a cup of tea, they don't want to read only crime and stuff. So this is a cheerful piece in the beginning. So I guess my style of writing is cheerful, positive, observant. So that's how I am.
Coming to observant, you said that these are anecdotes from your life. So I think these are your observation skills that have given you this book. So do you think people should be wary of you, around you? Because since you're always observing them, wouldn't they say that, now I should be careful before this goes in his next book?
Yeah, so my friends and family have been saying that for years, that, this incident that has happened now, Vivek will write about it. It'll appear in the paper. But apart from my wife, Nina, and maybe a couple of other people, I typically don't name anyone. And like Nina, I've added to my middles many a time. So I've got something called bad hair days in this.
Okay.
So bad hair days, she would be saying, oh no, look at my hair and all that. So the idea came from there. But then I realized that I also have bad hair days. So then it became a funny middle I wrote about. So Nina comes in the middles many a time, and she knows that she might land up there. And overall, she has this unique, energetic personality, she comes up with funny incidents also. There was one where we had recently got married, and I think she was about to have our first child. Spriha was born later. and we attended a close family wedding. And she's there, and I'm there, and she tells me later, I wasn't feeling too well, so I didn't want to get up and touch so and so's feet because Chacha ji was there or something, and so I didn't touch his feet. So I said, कौन से चाचा जी? वो तो आए नहीं थे. She says, वो वाले जो वहां पे बैठे हुए थे. ऐसे वो तो तहसीलदार काल का है. उसके पैर अगर आपने छुए होते तो मैं तो I would have resigned from service and stopped going to the office. You can't touch people's feet like that. She said, मैंने तो नहीं छुए. So anyway, so she gives me a lot of material, and people give me a lot of material too. And then I feel that no, I don't take names of people without asking them. So like anyone who's wary of me need not be wary, because that incident may also change in flavor when I'm writing. So if somebody is wearing a blue shirt, he may be wearing a red shirt in that. Somebody is older, he might be younger. So nobody can recognize you.
Yeah, but I think the person who's reading it would recognize that it's me.
If that person is there, he'll recognize.
Because this happened with me.
Achha.
I mispronounced somebody's name on stage.
Okay.
He wrote about it in an article and then he sent it to me.
But it wasn't me.
No, not you. Someone.
Then it's fine.
You know.
Okay.
So then he sent it to me. A girl mispronounced my name. So
well,
I knew it was
that's
me.
a bit direct. And plus, that is observing a fault.
Yeah.
So when you're not observing a fault and you're actually writing about something which is not that serious, then it's fine. So you made a fault and then you send that person the article.
But then he correlated it with his wife doing the same mistake for years. So
I know someone who talks about that. Maybe you're talking about him.
Yes.
Could be. Okay.
So this being your fifth book, so do you think it's given you the same thrill as your first book, or would you consider this more of an accomplishment than a thrilling ride?
So, it's like, I don't want to compare myself to a legendary cricketer, but like Tendulkar scoring centuries, okay? First century, second century, third century, fourth century, fifth century. But each century gives you that joy. Each and every century that a cricketer makes or takes 5 wickets, he or she will be thrilled by it. Yesterday, at 51 years of age, Sachin Tendulkar made a 50 or a 60 in a Masters match. Yesterday. He's playing against his old-time Australian adversaries. And you could see the joy on his face on the TV or on the video when he made that 50. So I think any writer similarly churning out books would still feel excited at this book coming out. I guess people in olden times used to have 12 to 15 children, I've heard at times. I don't think they used to feel bored of having children at that. When they've had their 12th child, they should be as happy as they were with the first one. So books are like children. And plus, articles which make up books are in themselves many accomplishments. Supposing it's been published in the newspaper, and one fine day you find it in the paper or somebody sends it to you that, Vivek, your thing has been published. Of course, now I have a column for the last 8 years. I know that my piece is going to be published the next Sunday, every fortnight. But when I was writing middles, you didn't know when it's going to emerge. Sometimes they used to come after a month, and you had no idea when it's going to come. So that thrill of receiving that was the same. And lastly, on this point, I think we need to keep motivating ourselves and not get used to things. The same life, the same family, the same work, the same kind of people. You need to find that thrill in your life and egg yourself on. Who's going to inspire you if you don't inspire yourself? And if you write something good, it should calm you and delight you yourself. And if it's published, it should delight you more. And if someone writes to you that, the praise that I get sometimes, I'm trying to be very humble here. Sometimes people say, I agree with you. I really feel strongly, or even I disagree with you. But that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
The praise when I get that this is superbly well written, that is what I like. So that thrill is still there. And this book is receiving good reviews. Just before this show, I showed you the picture of somebody who's sent me the picture from another city. And, it's thrilling. Yeah.
So, would you say that your motivational writing, since you've written 2 books on motivation as well, so that goes along with motivational speaking? Because with your name, we always write TEDx speaker, motivational
Yeah,
speaker, and all. So, you think one contributes to the other?
yeah. I think you have to live your life in a manner that it's commensurate with your message. So, as a motivational speaker, I have to have a message. So, if I'm a banker or I'm a doctor, I can still have a motivational message. But there, my job is to do my job clinically well. To use a medical term, even in cricket they use it. India had a clinical victory, or Roger Federer won clinically, which means he didn't make too many mistakes or no mistakes. So the person doing that job clinically is fantastic. A doctor, especially, or a teacher, or even a banker. What's wrong with that? But if he or she also has a role to play in inspiring the team or inspiring the clients or inspiring the patients or whatever the case may be, then it becomes a larger objective. And if I resigned, which I did, from the civil service, to which you are aspiring and others are aspiring, I have to make that count. And I can't just sit and twiddle my thumbs and, that's it. No, I want to make it count. So each episode of this show, each video, each talk, each writing has to have that energy. And if you look at the larger picture, and I've become a little spiritual in the last many years, and I follow Paramahansa Yogananda's autobiography of a yogi. So we are actually energy. And some people emit negative energy, some people emit positive energy. But essentially, human beings are good natured. And those who become, like we have the president of a country right now who's trying to annoy everybody. I don't think he's doing it deliberately, but he's just doing it. So even he must have some goodness in him. So it's difficult to locate. But people typically are good natured, yet they have to make efforts to be good natured. So, as a motivational TEDx speaker, it is my job to live that life. And even if I have my moods and weak points, I have to present that picture. And being human is okay. I mean, you can be yourself. But I think I am blessed with that energy, which when I wake up in the morning, I really rarely feel dull. I mean, it helps that I'm flying off to IIT Guwahati tomorrow to speak. So it's thrilling, I've never been to Guwahati. And these kinds of opportunities are coming. But even if they weren't coming and I have to make my own reels or I have to do my own writing on sitting at home, I should still be inspired. That's it.
But this thing that you say that, you have to get back to your mode. So I was probably very young when you were here, posted as the IAS officer
Still young,
here.
yeah.
Very, very young.
Okay.
So I didn't know about you, of course, back then.
Okay.
So when I started interning with you, my mom told me, I've been seeing him since then. He
Oh.
looks the same. His demeanor is the same. So
Okay.
I don't think there is any mode that you have to go back from. You're in that mode only for so many years.
No, but the thing is that then your mom knew me and now you know me. So there is something has changed. But the thing is that interning with me would have given you that sense that I don't think the looks are the main thing. There are people who say you look the same, but I don't. And I look at my pictures from 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they are different, definitely. But I think the positive vibe and the confidence and the energy has increased from before. And it might be at a peak. So when I was in service, there was a posting where I felt that this is the peak. And I cannot really in service be at a higher level. I can be senior, but higher level of achievement. So I've had that feeling that now this is the peak and I need to be out doing something else now. So I quit. But that something else, this can continue until I start looking haggardly and, I start looking non-motivational. But I've seen somebody yesterday, I saw a picture that cello player in a concert, a cellist. He's been practicing at the age of 90. 90. I mean, that is far, way beyond me. way beyond me and you, of course. But he is saying that I think I'm still making progress. Why are you practicing in 90? I think I'm still making progress. And to put this book in perspective again, there's a Major General Neeraj Bali,
Right.
whose mother is 95. And you may have seen the post.
Yes.
He sent me the picture, and she's been reading this book. Now, what I feel motivated by that. So I have reasons to be motivated, and I try to live it. And if I look the same or if I have more energy, it's also a blessing. It's a divine blessing. And I think that spiritual life, which I've been leading, trying to lead in the last many years, our family does. And we follow Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings, Kriya Yoga teachings. So we typically look at the sunny side of life. That gives energy. And that's what life is about.
So we've talked about your observation skills and your association with motivating people. So I think if we club the two together, I'm sure you also, witnessed a lot of things that have inspired you, motivated you. So why particularly you've picked up humor to be the element of this book?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think humor is very important. We didn't talk enough about it yet. So my Nanaji, my grandfather, used to have this knack. So there's a Gujarati snack, as you know, dhokla.
Right.
Papada, khakra, these are all Gujarati. Now, we would make that, somebody would make that dhokla at home, not me. Somebody would make that dhokla at home and serve it, and Nanaji was here. He says, "Ye kya hai, dhakosla?" So like, "Nanaji, nahi, ye to dhokla hai." And he knew it, but he would say it. And dhakosla has another meaning. And then I said this in the book launch recently of this Middle of Everything, that he would say to me when I was a schoolboy. I used to stay with my Nanaji, Naniji in Delhi. I was in modern school. I was quite spoiled. But he would say, "Vivek, get me the dust from the stars." I'm like, "Nanaji, what dust from the stars?" He says, "Stardust magazine, Stardust." The name of the magazine was Stardust. He wouldn't say Stardust. He would say the dust from the stars. So he had that knack of playing with words, creating humor. I felt inspired by that. I think humor is a great way to inspire. And it's a way to lighten up, You can also inspire by telling stories of war, where India did something great, sports, which may not be humorous. They are very inspirational, Olympic achievements. It could be an NGO which is doing great work in the South or anywhere. But if you bring a touch of humor, I think it adds to the inspirational levels. And plus, I think it adds to the charm. Charm is also important. You make people feel good about themselves and about yourself. It doesn't take too much effort. And if you're smiling and cheerful, you will typically charm people. I'm not in the narrow sense, in the overall sense. And that is something which is important too. So humor is a great element to have, and I'm blessed to have a little bit of it, a witty kind of thing. I said this in the launch also. Comedy and humor are two different things. Broadly the same, but two different things. A stand-up comic has to be slapstick and quick thinking, and he's speaking or she's speaking on her feet, his feet. Whereas a writer has time and can edit. The speaker cannot edit what he said. It can only be chopped off if it's a recording. And there are people who wish they hadn't said what they said, including a major podcast which I was on.
Yes.
So this particular thing of writing humor is a blessing, because you're able to, you can even use different phrases. You wrote something in the morning which is humorous, but in the evening you felt that you can make it more humorous if you add this, and just a tweak here and there. So as a writer of many, many articles now and 5 books, I think I've improved and getting a bit better. And and this is very humbly, I must say that I'm a better writer than a speaker. And if I'm a good speaker, I'm a better writer, so you better read this book.
I won't miss out on it.
Not you, they should read the book.
So you said many, many articles and 5 books. You have a very, very busy life. You're a part of so many forums, so many associations. Yeah. I've never seen you miss an event unless you're out of town. So where do you find the time?
Yeah, so I used to be even more busy, let me say that, when I was in service, and I would find time to write even then. So it was difficult to write, but I would find 20 minutes. If I could find 20 minutes, then it's not enough though. A writer would say, let's say 2 hours is a good stretch, or 4 hours. Ramchandra Guha is said to write from 9:30 to 1:30 every day. Now, he had the luxury to do that. I don't have that luxury. And hopefully he's paid for it. My writing, 20 minutes was not enough, but it was good enough for me. And I could connect the dots the next day. I would spend the first 3 or 4 minutes reading the previous day's piece and edit it a bit and then go on to the next piece. 20 to 30 minutes max. Now, today, finding time is easier for me. It's a priority. So, writing and speaking are two things that I do majorly. I do some advisory roles. Writing is top priority. My column is top priority. I'm thinking now of writing a book which is fictional again, a story with more humor in it, and hopefully it'll be better than my first two novels, which I'm not very proud of, but I'm reasonably proud of. I'm more proud of finding success within. It's still a wonderful life and the middle of everything. But I think finding time for writing is not a problem for me. I also find that I write best when I'm not too sleepy. So obviously when you're reading at night or writing at night, your efficiency goes down. I feel sleepy at that time. So mornings are better, or afternoons or evenings are better. So that's a tip. But also I would give a tip to writers that keep your regular writing regimen or routine. Continue that. Don't skip it for a month and then go back to it, because you have to pick up the threads. It's difficult.
Right. So I was going to ask you your plans ahead, but I think the book number 6 is already in the works.
Yeah, so I'll just talk a little bit more about it. So it's based on my career in the service as well, but it's fiction, and it's got lots of incidents which are true and some not true. So people have to guess which is true and which is not true, and people can also guess who is this person he's talking about. Officers love to do that. In our IAS or IPS, they say, "Oh, I think he's talking about him." There was a book on journalists of Delhi once. It was a very spicy book, and they never named anyone. It was the guy with a baritone voice, the guy with a hairstyle like this, or the person like that, and they would change the name. So, but it was about real people. So I think that kind of book I'm attempting. Let's hope it comes out shortly. But for now, I'm basking in the happiness of this book. Yeah.
Right. So there's an inspiration in everybody's life. You're an inspiration in so many lives. Who's
Thank
your
you.
inspiration?
Yeah, so I think broadly I could categorize my life. In the beginning, everybody's inspired by their parents, and I definitely was. My father was very inspiring, Mr. J.P. Atray. He was so cool, and he wouldn't talk much. He was not a motivational speaker. He was a motivational person, and he was tough. But he was very empathetic, very inspiring. My mother was very empathetic also. She was a great singer, a great cook, and she was an MA in Sanskrit, and a great mom. But we lost them early. Both of them went early. My sisters and I, they're twins, Ruchi and Surabhi, and we were inspired by them. Then life happened, and I got married, I had children. I used to be inspired a lot by sports persons. And Sachin Tendulkar, definitely. Gavaskar when I was a boy in school. Then Sachin Tendulkar, after that, I haven't been so inspired by any cricketer. But then the spiritual life started. And while I'm still inspired by a sports person like Usain Bolt, etc., who is also retired now, but the spiritual life meant that I'm inspired by Paramahansa Yogananda, author of the Autobiography of a Yogi, and by other spiritual personalities, Ramakrishna Paramhans, Guru Nanak Dev, Jesus Christ. So I am multi-religious in that sense, but I follow my religion, I follow spiritual thought, I follow the teachings, and I practice meditation. So in this point, I just add that I think anyone who meditates is going to be a calmer person, will do better in life, will inspire more. So people ask me, like you asked me, I mean, you look the same or whatever. I think it's a lot to do with meditation. It's a lot to do with winning that inner battle, which you try. You keep trying. You're not perfect. I'm not at all. You keep improving with your meditation and things, and your regularity of spiritual effort. So we are the body, mind, and soul. This is not the time for a lecture on these things, but just to cut it short and summarize, I think it comes from within, and inspiration comes from within. So you can be inspired by nature. I mean, they can't see, but we can see the greens outside and the flowers. And I'm closer to nature after resigning from the service than I was in service because I didn't have time. And I remember telling an officer colleague of mine, "Yaar, तूने बाहर देखा है, sunset हो गया है." At least I had that knack. He was so busy with the files. So I think nature, God, these are the things that should inspire ultimately.
Right. I've loved having this conversation with you. I think you should be a regular feature on your own show with me on this side and you
Then
on
you'll
that
have to host
side.
it.
And I think with that, we conclude today's episode. And I think everybody should find themselves in the middle of everything.
Yes, thank you very much, Anandita, for talking to me here and hosting the show. And I think the Good Vibe show will have me hosting, maybe you one day, others definitely. So let's hope for the best.
Right, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the best for your
Thank
book,
you.
sir.